Hi everybody. St. Patrick's Day is not that far away, so I thought I would make a St. Patrick's Day card. And I also wanted to try out a new fun fold. It's definitely new to me. I haven't seen too many around, so I thought I would play around and give you guys the dimensions to save you guys a little bit of work. I decided I'm going to make two cards. I couldn't decide what green I liked better, the light green or this like medium green. So I'm going to do both, and then at the end you guys can vote which version is your favorite. All right, so our first step is we're going to take our card bases and set them aside. We don't need them right now. We are going to stamp the shamrocks onto the back of our background. And I have a sticky mat. Mine is a very dirty, but it's still sticky and works great, so I just keep using it. I used a silhouette mat that I cut up, and it has been working for me really, really well. So I can't complain. But I do have some of the name brand ones, and they work well too. The sticky mat, the reason I really like that for this project, or have it for this project, is because sometimes when you have a large background stamp like this shamrock and you try to stamp it here along with when your cardstock is in this corner part, it often, the stamp catches on these little ledges and it's hard to get a good impression around the edges of the stamp platform. So what I've done is I'm using my sticky mat to kind of hold it out here in the open so that I can stamp and get the entire coverage on this paper. And I think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try inking this up with Versamark. And the reason I'm choosing Versamark is it makes the stamped image one shade darker than your paper. And I don't want this to be in your face. I just want this to be, obviously it's a, St. Patty's Day card, so we want shamrocks. We want it to be a decoration, but we don't need it to be over the top. And I have found that with a stamp this big, you definitely need to stamp it a few times. Okay, so both of our pieces of green stamped. On my lighter green, the Versamark wasn't making it dark enough, so I did use another shade darker green on this to get the shamrocks to show up. It was a little bit bolder than I had imagined in my mind, but I think it's going to work out great. And who knows, it might turn out to be our favorite. So my next step is, and this is on purpose, I usually don't show you gluing, but in this case it is kind of important on how I'm putting my glue on this card. Normally don't show gluing, but on this card I think it's important on how to make it work. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to only put glue along the outside edges of this green. I'm purposely leaving this blank, and I'll show you why here in a minute. And then I'm going to center this onto a front of my card here. You can fold this in half if that helps you see it. So it's just centered on a A2 card. I'm going to do the same with the other card. Then I went through my stash and I found a circle die. And we are going to cut a circle out of the top third of our card. And it's going to cut through both layers. So I'm just doing my best to center that up. I'm going to use a little piece of tape. And I'll do this to both cards. So one of the reasons that we didn't put glue in the center is now that after we die cut this, now we have two pieces here. So we can use these for other things in our card. I hate to waste paper, so I love that now that we can use both of these pieces to finish up our card. We can put our circle away. We're all done with that. And now let's take our white circles and let's stamp our sentiment on it. Now, I played around with this a little bit before getting on camera, and I'm still a little unsure of what color I want to stamp these in. I'm going to stamp one here in black, because this is the way I'm kind of leaning towards going here, is using black. Because the sentiment is the focal point of this card, I really want it all to show. And I didn't want to do it in green and have it kind of blend in with the background. The other idea I had, because gold is kind of, so synonymous with St. Patrick's Day, I did two circles in gold. So we can play around with those as well. But while I've got this out, I'm going to do our two in black, because I'm pretty sure that's the direction we'll end up going in here. But I will show you what the gold looks like, and you can tell me what you think. I am stamping this in VersaFine. It is my favorite black ink. I do have to wait and be careful not to stick my fingers in it, though. All right, so now that we have that finished, let's just test this for a second and see what you guys all think. See how well that really pops off of that background? That was really, really nice. That's why I think we're going to end up with black. But I did want to show you, I have two kinds of gold here. I have like a matte gold, and then I have like a sparkly gold. I'm going to set those there so they dry. And even though I love the way the gold looks, I don't know, it doesn't pop as much as the black. I would love if you left me a comment, let me know what you think. I could always make these into cards later, but I think for this video, I'm going to finish them up both in black. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do our cards is 2 strips of paper. The length or width of this is really, really, really not that important. You are going to fold them in half. This one's 5 inches long. Most of this is going to be hidden in the card, so you're not going to see it. I'm just going to score these, burnish them real well with the bone folder because I want my cards to lay relatively flat. And then what I'm going to do is, well, let's do this part first. Let's take a white piece of cardstock. This is cut by 4 by 5 1/4. And what we're going to do is make a little flap. So that's going to sit there like that. So now we need to glue this all down. And I admit this is a little bit tricky with, you know, you feel like you wish you had more than one hand. But I think the easiest way is to put glue on both sides of one of your things. And I like liquid glue because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room so that if you were to close this, it lines up in the center. Then you can take your white cardstock, and I am putting glue all over the back of that. And center that up in the card. And putting that score line right there on top of the card. So this is what it should look like right at this moment in time. I'm going to do this again on the other one. So to make this easier, I'm just going to put some glue on the back of this. Let's try this and see. So let's hold this where it should be. Just kind of close this to make sure it's centered in the circle. Now we can kind of lay our piece down on top of it. And that white piece has glue on it, so it traps that green tag inside the card. Now here comes the somewhat tricky part. I found, where are they? To use your tweezers to hold the card shut so you don't have any flopping card around. And I'm going to put some glue on just the part of this tag that's in the center. And then we're going to pop our sentiment back into the circle. Use my tweezers. I don't want to touch it too much because it is probably still a little wet. Okay, so now we have these glued in and they line up perfectly. So this is what you see on the outside of the card so far. You open it up, you have a flap and another flap. Well, I kind of thought this was a little ugly and I wouldn't want, you know, if I can make that pretty, why not? So I thought we did have the other circle left over that we could glue onto this side that has more shamrocks on it, and isn't that more attractive? Or we could flip it over and have it just be plain green, but I think I really like the idea of the shamrocks. So I'm going to coat this with glue. If you wanted to add like a secret message, that would be a cool place to do it. I don't have anything that secret to share, so we'll just use the shamrocks. I added a few gold gems on the front because I thought, it just felt like it needed some little pop of gold in there. I would be totally excited to hear any ideas you have about how to add some gold. I thought about like a gold ring around it. I don't know. It didn't want to take away from the sentiment or take away from the shamrock, so I was trying to just figure out a little bit. So anyway, I'd love to hear what your thoughts on how to add gold. I also thought of one other little finishing touch to put on these cards. So when you open it, you have the secret little flap and you can write your message in here. But I found these shamrocks and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to give them a 4-leaf clover, and it kind of carries on the theme from the inside of the card, right? Like, so you have the shamrocks here, and then you open it and you have a shamrock inside. Let's see what the other one looks like. We'll just pop this in here for now. I don't know if you even need to glue it down. I just kind of like the idea it's stuck in there so they can, you know, have their 4-leaf clover. You know, it's like, oh, I got a 4-leaf. I don't know. What do you guys think? So this is my really easy design and measurements for this little fun full card. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really hope you let me know which one you guys like, the light green or the dark green. Thank you guys for stopping by and checking out what I'm making. I hopefully you guys find this tutorial helpful. Let me know if you're going to give it a try. Pop in and tell me what suggestions or what you would have changed. You never know. I'll do it again and share your ideas and stuff. So I always appreciate that. Thank you guys for crafting with me, and I'll see you next time.